Guys, I got a whole bunch of WrestleMania theories on how how the I don't really think that it's going to be the main event. I really have a whole bunch of theories on how the Dean Ambrose and Triple H uh, feud, I guess, is going to pan out. Because it seems to me it's a possibility well, since they actually are going to do this, I mean, I have so many theories about this. But anyway, this is not about that. This is about Raw. So I'm going to go ahead and just start this review and just be as honest as I can as possible about this. Now, when it comes to the opener, I will say that the best promos did go to the Authority. By far. They really did bring it. And they always do bring it. But the person of the night that I have to highlight here is Stephanie McMahon. She always has an awesome rant, awesome retort against the crowd. But man, she had the most queenly of queenly rants I have ever heard in my entire life. And that chick threw down. She pretty much knocked everybody down on their butts. From the crowd to Shane, everything. I have to tip my I'll tip my scarf off to her. She definitely was the person of the night in my opinion. But then we also had her husband opening the show and having his little moment talking about how Roman Reigns pretty much don't know his place in the Authority, and he needs to, know his place and stuff like that. But seeing how the Dean Ambrose was the guy that stepped up to Triple H, in my opinion, this is something that should have happened at Fastlane. Everybody has been saying this. Dean Ambrose should have been the guy that won at Fastlane, not Roman Reigns. But I will admit, the epic beatdown that they had for this past Raw with Roman Reigns, honestly, in my opinion, it should have been Dean. I mean, not Dean being beat down like that, but I have noticed that he didn't beat down Dean as much as he did Roman Reigns. He pretty much broke Roman Reigns' freaking nose. He did nothing to Dean Ambrose. Pretty much Dean Ambrose wasn't bleeding. He wasn't broken. If he was already broken, it was because of what happened last week. But other than that, the Cerebral Assassin was pretty tame compared to how brutal he was last week. I don't know why they just chose to tone it down. Everybody kept predicting that the PG era was dead, that it's starting to die off. But right now, I don't know. Maybe they're just postponing it. Maybe there is somewhere in the wings, because Triple H was really tame tonight. I've seen him at his most brutal, and I thought he would pretty much unleash the worst that he could possibly unleash against Dean Ambrose, just like he did Roman Reigns last week, but he didn't really do that. I was kind of shocked to see that. And I see that there were like two guys in the crowd that was pretty much going nuts, but other than that, yeah, I was kind of expecting an epic beatdown. But speaking of expectations, a lot of people on Twitter were really pissed seeing the Undertaker just came in and walked out. Like, as quick as he came in, he was gone. And instead of choke slamming Vince McMahon, he just said a few words saying, when I close that door, your son's blood will be on your hands, not mine. And as interesting as that is, I wish I saw a little bit more of Undertaker, but in a way, I'm kind of okay with it, because it's the Undertaker. You don't want too much touching going on unless he's in a feud with somebody. He's not really in a feud. He is actually just being the enforcer in a match. That's pretty much what he's doing. He's kind of, I guess he's kind of sort of like an enforcer. He's not really feuding with anybody. So in a way, I'm okay with it, but in a way, I'm disappointed because I wish I saw a little bit more of Taker. I mean, especially the fact that we haven't seen him since WrestleMania 31. It's been a freaking year. And we're close to a year, and we really haven't seen him in that long. Well, actually, it was probably a little bit more than that. Maybe 8 months. I don't know. If you really know the exact time, by all means, leave it in the comments. But it's been a while since we actually seen Taker on stage at Raw, well, in the ring at Raw in a while. So yeah, it was kind of disappointing not being able to see him to see him react to Vince McMahon. Like, actually choke slamming him to the mat. I would have loved to see that, but we didn't see it, and in a way I'm okay with it, but in a way I'm not. The matches themselves were actually pretty interesting, but I will say this. The biggest cop-out of them all, because everybody and their mom predicted this, was Sasha versus Becky. We predicted that there was going to be a double count-out. We just knew. We knew that there was going to be a double count-out. I mean, not count-out, but a double pin. We kind of knew it was going to be a double pin between those two. And we just know that there's going to be a triple threat match, but they're just stretching it out for all it's worth. I don't know why they're doing this. We already know that there's going to be a triple threat match between these girls, so why don't you just go ahead and say it? Like, seriously, we already know this. But it would have been nice if they actually did add Brie in the mix and had a fatal four-way. But let's be real. A triple threat is money. It's money with these three girls. And I would have liked to see Brie in there too, but it seems to me that they're actually going to have her feud with Lana, which is even a bigger interest for me. Because Lana hasn't wrestled since she arrived. She was a valet to Rusev. Still is. And I guess she was maybe valet / manager to Rusev. But seeing her perform in the ring is interesting, which means she has to bring her A game. If they decide to actually make this a WrestleMania match, which I actually can see them doing, she has to start performing. Like, she has to start bringing up her A game and actually having a match with somebody to show exactly what she's worth, and then have the feud build from there if they ever decide to do it. But I really don't know which direction they're going to go, and they're going between PG and PG-13. They can't really make up their minds. But honestly, I would love to see Lana wrestle Brie. It would be an interesting match to see. Plus, since Brie, this is going to be her last WrestleMania ever before she's officially done to go be, to leave and actually be with her husband, Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson. She needs to have a good match. She needs to have a good send-off. And Lana needs to bring it. She really does. I'm hoping that they actually do this, that they really do start priming Lana to wrestle in the ring. I'm hoping that they do that. But I don't know. They seem to change their mind really quickly, really, really fast. Just sudden, like, out of the blue. But I don't really know about the other matches. I really didn't care much for them. I didn't care much for Big Show versus Kevin Owens. I didn't really care much for The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. I didn't really care much for any of the other matches. But honestly, guys, like I said, the moments definitely went to the McMahons, especially Vince. Well, Vince McMahon, what he said was typical. He didn't really have much to say. His whole segment that he had was completely typical. Typical Vince move, something that you would hear straight out of the 90s. But the fact that you had Undertaker in there as somebody that he called out was very disappointing. But it did pique interest. But like the Lex Man asked everybody on Twitter, what did you really think of Raw? The truth. Like I said, I thought of Raw as like some hot syrup. It goes really, really fast and it's sweet towards the beginning, but when it starts to cool off, it starts to slow down and just become as molasses really, really quickly once it starts to cool off. I probably didn't say that verbatim, but if you guys, I actually did leave the tweet, but anyway, I didn't say that verbatim, but you get the idea. It started off really quick, really sweet to see the segments and everything, and then towards the middle, it started to really slow down, and it got really, really hard to focus to the point where you try not to fall asleep. And I don't really know, but at least I can say this: they actually did announce the next person to be in the Hall of Fame. The only thing that kind of bothered me was the fact that they didn't have a vignette. Like, in every single Hall of Famer that has been in the Hall of Fame or been announced has had a vignette. The Fabulous Freebirds did not get one. Maybe it's something I missed. Maybe they were low on time. I don't know. But if you guys saw this on SmackDown or the week before, let me know. Did they have a vignette for them? Because I didn't see that tonight and I was shocked. This is the Hall of Fame now. You would actually have a vignette for these people, but you don't. And also, I did have a question that I posted on Twitter that I really do want to have. Well, actually, I might save that for a video in itself. But other than that, guys, my overall thoughts is this. Raw wasn't so bad towards the beginning, but towards the middle, it started to really slow down very quickly. The matches themselves, of course, were great, except for the big cop-out match between Sasha and Becky, which really should have ended with a clear winner. Or it should have just been a triple threat, have one of the Authority come out and say a triple threat match, because we kind of know that this is going to add up to be that way, because that'd be stupid to let that go. But the biggest disappointment of the night was Undertaker, even though I'm kind of okay with him leaving, but then I'm kind of like in the middle. It's kind of a toss-up with me. But yeah, that was a disappointment of the night, as well as Vince's promo. It would have been nice to see Shane again, but we're going to see Shane next week. And as for the main event, I didn't really care much for it. Especially waiting to the end of the night to know what we already know what's going to happen. We knew that Triple H was going to agree to Dean Ambrose's terms of wrestling him for the belt at whatever pay-per-view they're going to have next. I kind of knew that was going to happen. Everybody else knew, but they dragged it out as long as they possibly could, which I thought was unnecessary. But guys, I want to hear your thoughts about this Raw. What do you think about this Raw? Do you think it's actually a good? Does this feel like the road to WrestleMania for you? What did you think of the main event? What did you think about the segments with the McMahons as well as with Triple H towards the beginning? I want to hear y'all's thoughts about it. Leave a comment in the comment section below or send a video response. And I actually do have a discussion that I'm probably going to start putting up soon because it's something that I actually did put on Twitter. And I'm actually going to do a discussion on it. So stay tuned to that. It's Nature Girl 30 signing off. Peace out, guys. Later.